Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers on Broadcast Day, part one of my interview with Jeff Jacobs. He's the chairman and CEO of Jacobs Entertainment. Here for the whole show on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Welcome to the Ahern Boutique Hotel, where luxury and warmth come together in the heart of Las Vegas.
We take pride in offering a one-of-a-kind experience for both locals and tourists.
Join us for handcrafted cocktails and an unforgettable experience.
Joel's Chop House, the perfect place to savor views of the Las Vegas Strip.
Satisfy your cravings at the Ahern Chocolate Shop.
No smoking, no resort fees, and the parking is always free. The Ahern Luxury Boutique Hotel is your home away from home.
Welcome to the Winnemucca Big R.
Hi, I'm John Walker. Welcome to Big R Lovelock.
Hi, I'm Rich Martin. Welcome to Fallon Big R.
My name is Braden. Welcome to Big R Fernley.
Hi, I'm Kelly. Welcome to Big R Sparks.
Nevada Builders Alliance has been protecting the interests of the construction industry for over 50 years. Our programs save members thousands of dollars every year and allow them to provide much-needed benefits to their employees. Our industry also allows Nevada to grow. If you're thinking about a career in the construction industry, reach out. And if you haven't thought of a career in construction, what are you waiting for? We are the Nevada Builders Alliance.
Save money and take transit. Did you know you can ride the bus all day for less than what it would cost you for a gallon of gas? Plan your trip now by going to rtcwashoe.com.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad on No Holds Barred Political Forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're delighted to welcome to the program Jeff Jacobs. He is the chairman and CEO of Jacobs Entertainment. We're coming to you from Carson City. It is an absolute pleasure to have you on the program. We've been missing each other for like 2 years, so I'm glad that we finally got you, and you had to drive down to Carson City to make it work. But thank you.
Good to see you.
So I wanted to throw out some numbers for you. So if you look at acreage, for example, City Center in Las Vegas is built on about 66 acres. Circus sits on about 155 acres. I'm sorry, 105 acres. Grand Sierra Resort in Reno sits on 150 acres. You've been buying a lot of land all across downtown Reno. How many acres do you own at this point?
Well, we bought over 80 parcels over 7 years on both sides of 4th Street from 2nd to 5th. I suppose, it's a couple hundred acres. It's a district, basically.
That's a lot of land.
Yes.
So, what the question on everybody's mind is, okay, so what are you going to do with it? Now, we know that you took what was the Sands Regency and turned it into the J Resort and took a very tired old building and rejuvenated it into a beautiful modern property, and it looks gorgeous. That's the centerpiece, but can you share with us the grand vision? Because
Sure.
you know that's what everybody's asking.
I know, and in fact, in a couple of weeks, I think we're going to kind of unveil the grand vision, sort of the 10-year plan. On 2nd Street, we want to continue the residential that we're doing. On the corner of Arlington and 2nd, we've created 245 North Arlington. In fact, we have a ribbon cutting there this week. And we'd like to continue the residential component all the way down to Keystone and create sort of the Park Avenue of downtown Reno. And you've got the water there and the river and the green space. So we think that's a great residential neighborhood. We're going to keep doing that.
For our Southern Nevada friends, what distance is that?
That's probably, 3/4 of a mile, something like that. It's somewhere in that area. We're going to have some underground parking so we can get more density. And we're moving the Housing Authority project over there, Saracen Arms. We're going to put 60 units in there for seniors as well as part of the project. We're trying to keep 10% for affordable workforce housing. And it's an all-inclusive residential effort, multi-year, obviously, but we look forward to continuing that.
It obviously is beneficial to any property to have residential around it because you're going to always be busy on the weekends, but you're going to need locals business as well. Reno is a very competitive market, so I kind of want to expand this a little and say to you, when did you first spot Reno? How long have you been coming to Reno?
Well, I bought Gold Dust West almost 30 years ago. And
Is it 30 years
30
already?
Years, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Right.
So Gold Dust West, and then you also have Gold Dust West in Carson City and Elko.
And Elko, yes.
Okay.
And
So it's almost 30 years.
Yeah.
And what did you see? I mean, though, you know, certainly the Reno property I was very familiar with. They were a great customer on our dining show for years. And that was a very busy locals joint. What did you see that made you want to expand in Northern Nevada like that?
After Arnold Schwarzenegger brought in gaming, Native American gaming in California, you know, gaming in this market basically was cut in half. And when it hit bottom, which was maybe 10 years ago, I decided that maybe there's an opportunity to do something downtown that could be not just gaming, but, you know, really basically part of the rebirth of downtown Reno, which is something I did in Cleveland. I'm sort of bookending my career. I started 40 years ago in Cleveland with a waterfront entertainment district and housing. And so now I'm kind of finishing up my career in Reno with a multifaceted development project as well.
Okay, but you were saying that you saw that Native American gaming had cut Reno's market in half.
Right, so now there's an opportunity for me to come in and start to buy.
Okay.
And so I bought a lot of those motels that were here in the 60s for California customers weren't coming anymore. And they were basically turning into flop houses. So we bought 12 or 13 of them. And the law-abiding citizens, the senior citizens, we helped, we spent over $1 million helping them to relocate downtown and near downtown. And then there's a few bad boys that we had to help them get on a bus, the police department and I, and send them down the road. So it's a different downtown. I don't know if you noticed that part of downtown. It's cleaner, newer, brighter, and it's going to continue. We've got, you asked me about the big picture. We're going to have a conference space coming, maybe a non-gaming conference hotel like a Marriott or a Hyatt, more parking, more entertainment. You know, we've got the festival grounds. The young people are going to enjoy this summer. We'll have 35 or 40 events downtown between that and the Globe Plaza. So we've got all kinds of, you know, and part of it's driven by demand. You know, if the demand is there for something, we'll turn in that direction. If the demand is off the roof for housing, we'll just pick up the pace on housing.
All right, so you're looking at this and going, okay, whatever is the need, we can fulfill that.
Right.
You know, and obviously I have to bring this up, you got a bit of heat for taking down some of those motels. But as the reality from someone who's lived in Reno since 1978, those were terrible places and nobody should have been allowed to live in those. And I don't personally understand why, if you purchase something, you're not allowed to do what you want with it. So if you decide that you buy a piece of property and you want to tear it down and put something else up there, I don't see the issue there as somebody buying something. It would be the previous owner who would have the responsibility for anything else that went on. But you got a lot of heat for that.
Yeah, there's a couple folks in town that wanted to keep things the way they were, but when we offered to take them inside those motels, they didn't want to go inside those motels. And as you say, they were rat-infested, crime-ridden, pit bull occupied. You know, it was just, there was, you'd have like 4 or 5 fellows in their 20s just coming into town and just sharing a room and then going out and creating some havoc in the area. And there was no good coming out of it, so.
Well, you know, we've got another example near the Marriott Renaissance on Lake Street. The property of Lake Mill Lodge across the street has been shut down. And that's just been a nightmare for the Reno Police Department for years. And it's stopping people who are locals from wanting to go to that property because they don't want to be associated with what's right across the street.
Right.
So from my personal perspective, thank you for doing that because you cleaned up a giant area of downtown. Now, you know, obviously there is another large organization just a few blocks away from you. In fact, from your front parking lot, you have a spectacular view of the Row, which is Caesar's Properties downtown. Do you have a relationship with the Caranos?
Well, we've known each other a long time. I used to own a racetrack in West Virginia, which they ended up buying.
Right.
And they grew their company into, El Dorado, from El Dorado to Caesars, and they've done a great job. The Reno market, how they're positioned in Reno is probably different than any other city that Caesars is in, where they're the dominant player. Here you've got the mountains to the west, and you've got GSR doing what they're going to be doing. So they got their hands full over there with the Row, and but I just encourage them to join me and continue to reinvest in the area, which they are doing.
Okay, but I mean, do you have a positive? Reno has been known. I mean, I can share this with you, and you probably are well aware of it, as you've been buying land for 30 years, of groups battling each other, whether it was downtown versus the folks down south, or whether it was the folks down south combining with the Nugget and Sparks to be against the people in downtown.
Right.
So do you have a good working relationship with the Caranos?
I do, and I try to get along with everybody. I've got my hands full. We're the little, gaming engine that could. So we keep our heads down and just try to keep growing it. And we think if we do a good job, we'll get our fair share of market. And I wish that everybody in the market well.
You're also in Blackhawk,
Yes.
in Colorado, which is an incredible market. I went there a few years ago to check it out, and it was just stunning. This is, about a 20-minute ride from Denver.
Right.
But there's not very much competition anywhere for hundreds of miles, correct?
Yeah, the voters 20-some years ago went on the ballot and legalized gaming in 3 old mining towns, and that's one of the 3. It's closest one to Denver. In fact, we're working on a $200 million addition to our property there.
And it's just booming. I mean, and there were a lot of laws changed over the last few years to allow for gaming to thrive there, more so than it had done in the past.
Right. It started out as a $5 bet.
Right, and now?
And now it's unlimited, and now you're getting more hotel rooms, and it's becoming more of a destination place.
It really is amazing. And for folks that need a perspective, it's kind of Reno to Virginia City would be, I think, the comparison from Denver into Blackhawk. But it's an incredible market. All right, let's take a break, and we'll come back and we'll talk. We have a lot more to talk about with you. So we'll be right back after this time out.
A power line is more than a power line. It's maintaining the bottom line for small businesses. It's keeping the assembly line moving for our workforce. For our brightest minds, it's meeting a deadline. It's on the front line with our heroes. And on the sidelines of the biggest games. It's a direct line to our loved ones. And it's a lifeline for the most vulnerable. There's a lot on the line.
Welcome to Story County, where history meets innovation, and a pioneering spirit continues to shape our future. At the heart of the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, we power the future with global leaders in technology and manufacturing, driving progress that reaches far beyond our county lines. From advanced manufacturing to tech innovation, our industries are creating thousands of quality careers, fueling a vibrant economy that benefits every Nevadan. But it's more than just growth. Our community is our foundation, supporting families, empowering local initiatives, and creating a place where everyone belongs. Be part of a legacy built on bold ideas and boundless possibilities. Join us in building a brighter future right here in Story County. Story County, helping build Nevada's future.
It happens. And when it does, there's UMC Quick Care.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, come to you from Carson City at the Nevada Builders Alliance. We're talking with Jeff Jacobs. He's the chairman and CEO of Jacobs Entertainment. In Reno, he owns the J Resort and Gold Dust West. And it's a lot of land that goes along with it. Let's explore a little bit of your history, because you started out really on Wall Street, really, where you were a trader in government bonds.
Right. I used to trade interest rate futures.
Okay.
And,
so how did you? Well, now of course there are some that would say, okay, being on Wall Street is gambling. So
oh, it is.
It was a natural move to go from there.
Yeah.
But you also ended up in the legislature.
Yeah, I came back. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, and I came back after a couple of years working in New York, and I was really interested in doing development. Excuse me. And I did a waterfront development.
This is one in Cleveland.
In downtown Cleveland. And at the same time, I was also interested in serving in the local Congress, the state legislature. So I went down to Columbus, Ohio, and I served several years in the Ohio House. I was the token Republican from Northeast Ohio.
Okay, and what did you think of working in the inner workings of government as legislator?
It's interesting. I was in the minority, and I was young and in the minority, so I had a seat in the back row, and I got to see how it worked. But it was difficult to do both well. So then I ran for state office. I lost, and then I decided to go full-time in development. And so I expanded my waterfront development. And one day I got a phone call from somebody. He said, "There's a fellow that wants to buy part of your waterfront project for this phenomenon that's coming across the Midwest known as riverboat casinos." And I'd never heard of riverboat casinos. So I decided, let's go out and look at it. And I decided, well, I don't want to sell a piece of land for a riverboat casino. I'd rather just get in the business. So then I traveled around the country, and I ended up in Black Hawk, Colorado. I ended up in Virginia with a thoroughbred racetrack. And then I ended up out here in Reno 30 years ago with Gold Dust West.
So let me ask you, going back to Cleveland for a moment, so what was the area like when you moved into that waterfront district in Cleveland? Was it dilapidated at that point?
It was tougher than where I ended up in Reno. First building I bought, I went in the basement, and there was 2 dead bodies floating in water.
And your response?
I was candidly, I was with my partner, who was an architect, and I said, I have to go down to the legislature for a meeting. You call the police. So he called the police.
Oh my gosh!
But it was a dumping ground for criminals, and it was derelict former industrial land, the steel mills in that area. So it was everything you'd ever think of for a bad place, but had a lot of upside because it was waterfront. So the first thing I did is very similar to what we're doing here. I put a boardwalk in along the river on the other side of downtown, so people could come and look at their city with the water in front of them. Similar to what we're doing in Reno with the art, Reno's Neon Line, where people can come down and look at downtown Reno in a different way. And I think that helps build support and interest.
Okay, so were there incentives from Cleveland to help with
there was one incentive. It was Jimmy Carter was president, and he had a phenomenon known as Urban Development Action Grants. And it was similar to what they have now with the TIF. It was a but-for test. And my buildings were, basically, they should have been torn down, but I wanted to preserve them. I had 100-year-old buildings, and I enjoy historic preservation. And the Carter administration came in and said, yes, we'll give you some money, a grant to help you make your numbers work. And so that's how that took off.
Okay, and so what was the first piece you developed, and how did that go? Was that successful right off the bat?
Yeah, but the tendency, when you break in new ground, the tendency can go up and down. So third-party tenants was difficult. So I ended up owning all the tenants, basically. And I still have many of them. I have 3 banquet rooms. It's the largest banquet room in Northeast Ohio, where weddings, several nights a week are hosted. We have an outdoor stage, Jacobs Pavilion, for 4,000 people that AMG runs for me now, similar to what we're doing here in Reno. And then there's restaurants and parking and residential all along the waterfront there.
Okay, and residential is part of what you're doing there as well?
Yes.
And you've got an aquarium there?
Yeah, we have an aquarium there. It's probably the only privately owned aquarium in the country, because they weren't really meant to be privately owned, but I had to figure out how to do it and make it work, which we did. So.
Okay, my wife and I travel all over the world, and pretty much every town we go to all over the world, we go to the aquarium.
Right.
So if that's any kind of hint for you for Reno.
Yeah.
But
well, it's funny. I've thought about an aquarium, a small aquarium in Reno, once we get the property built out. We have a canvas. There's a lot of things we could do with it.
Shark Reef is done very well for Mandalay Bay.
Yes.
So just a thought. Let's take another break and we'll come right back. More with Jeff Jacobs after this timeout. As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
It's a good time to eat. It's a good time to play.
It's a good time to win.
Ooh, your good times are
Pro Group Management is the place where companies can find workers' comp solutions that are designed to meet their specific business requirements. As regulations evolve, Pro Group takes a proactive approach to clear the path to make sure your business stays ahead of the curve. Knowing your workers' comp program is optimized, you can focus on other important matters related to your growing business. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
The trucking industry is the most resilient link in the supply chain. And for over 90 years, the Nevada Trucking Association has been the voice for the men and women in the trucking industry. From Carson City to Washington, D.C., we advocate for policies to protect our trucking companies and keep commerce flowing. Because Nevada's and America's prosperity is tied to trucks. There's nothing without trucking.
Here on 7 at 7, we're bringing you the local headlines in just 7 minutes.
We've got you covered in the morning, evening, and for all breaking news in between and as it happens.
Life is busy, and we don't waste your time. Join us for local news now streaming on our YouTube page.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Jeff Jacobs. We're going to do 2 shows with him. This is part 1. He's the chairman and CEO of Jacobs Entertainment, on the J Resort in downtown Reno, and you said 200 acres, right?
Yeah, probably, it's about a third of downtown.
That's huge.
Right.
I mean, you can build a city there with that much acreage.
Right.
It's incredible. All right. When you go to the J Resort, and actually some of the lots along 4th Street and 5th Street, you have all kinds of art. You've got Burning Man art, huge statues that are out there that are totally cool. Within the J Resort itself, there's some incredible art there. Where did your love for art come from? Because you have obviously put a lot of money into art.
Probably as a child, my father collected art, and so I learned to be around art and enjoy art. He ended up, he built the Key Bank building, which is like 56 stories in downtown Cleveland. And in the lobby, back in the 1960s, he bought a piece at auction, which is now in the Museum of Modern Art. It's called F-111 by Rauschenberg. And it's probably 70 or 80 feet long, and it just, surrounds a room. But just being around art, I've got 2 pieces coming in, 2 sculptures with our new addition to 4th Street. One is Richard Erdman. He goes to Italy and he pulls out of quarry mines these giant blocks of marble, and then he carves these shapes. And we've got a wonderful sculpture from him. He's done with his work. It's in San Francisco waiting. That'll be coming next spring as our new front entrance comes in. And then I just acquired at Art Basel Miami, which was just a month or 2 ago, a piece for the interior of the new North expansion by Alice Aycock. She's an 83-year-old artist who's in the Museum of Modern Art. She's world-renowned. And that's going to be an interesting kinetic energy type of sculpture that it just looks like a tornado with bands of white steel. And that'll be sitting in the front door. And I just enjoy it. We have some nice pieces in there, as you said.
All right, and those are corporate owned or those personally owned?
Some of each. Some are owned by my company and some are owned by me.
Okay, this is probably a rude question, and feel free to tell me
That's
about my own business. But how much have you invested in the art so far?
In Reno?
Yeah.
It's probably 30 million, something like that. But when people come into J. Paul's Steakhouse, we have a contemporary modern room in the back. There's all kinds of artists in there. We have a Western room out in the main casino area. We have some large pieces that are they're all world-renowned artists.
We can get more into this later, but I mean, with the amount of money you're investing into all of this and the number of $1 billion that's been thrown around, A, is that accurate? And B, what timeline is that for return on investment?
Well, real estate, you have to have a certain amount of patience. Real estate is a long-term play, and this is a long-term pivotal project that's going to recreate downtown Reno. So I look at the return as part of it. I don't look at that as all of it. I don't think the good Lord put me on earth just for the return. But we've probably spent $400 million already, and we have a master plan. We only have 700 rooms. When we build a conference center, if there's a demand for people from California, that's really the bet. Will people from out of market want to come back and revisit Reno because of the changes we're making? And if that's the case, we have a master plan that could accommodate up to 2,000 rooms. We can keep going. So you're probably talking, in residential is a couple $100 million. So you're probably talking between $1.5 billion and $2 billion of total development potential over, say, the next 10 or 12 years.
All right, we're going to hold you right there. We're going to go to a second show, and so we'll be right back on our second program with Jeff Jacobs after this time out.
Each day, the Children's Advocacy Alliance partners with leaders, legislators, and families across Nevada to improve children's health, education, economic well-being, and safety. We recognize Nevada will be no better than the state of its children. Be a part of this change. Be a supporter of the Children's Advocacy Alliance. For more information, go to caanv.org.
Imagine a magical garden that feeds Carson City's hungry and homeless, teaches our high school students agriculture, creates hanging floral displays to beautify downtown, and yet charges nothing. It's not magic. It's the Greenhouse Project. It's real, it's growing, and it needs your help. Go online to carsоncitygreenhouse.org so together we can grow it forward.
For 50 years, Nevada Heating has been keeping people comfortable in their homes. At Nevada Heating, call the Do It Right guys and get the heat back on today. Call us today and we'll fix it today. That's the Nevada Heating way. Why freeze for days on end when Nevada Heating can get your furnace fixed today? Call us today and we'll fix it today at 323-5585 or schedule us on our website at nevadaheating.com.
Mom! It happens. And when it does, there's UMC Quick Care.
Thanks for watching Nevada Newsmakers come to you from Carson City, from the headquarters of the Nevada Builders Alliance. We'll see you on the next broadcast. Thanks for watching.